Hey, this is Ellie with Swift Creek Customs, and I am testing another material. So this is a faux leather from 143 vinyl, and I have several different colors and varieties here to test with. This is my first one. You can see I've been doing some test cuts here. The one thing, faux leather is another material that can vary greatly depending on where you get it, and a lot of companies call things faux leather when they're more like marine vinyl and different things like that. So every single brand color is going to vary, especially in your backing. So I'll show you a quick photo here of the differences in these backings. But here you can see that there's like a weaved texture. Again, faux leather, it's like a plastic, so you have to keep that in mind. This one is really soft. This is one that reminds me of more like real leather compared to some of the other faux leathers that are more plasticky and more like marine vinyl. So the first thing that I would recommend is you are going to have to dial your blade in and do these test cuts. So I am using the 60-degree blade, and it'll be very hard to see here. So I have my blade housing, and what I did was I took my faux leather and I just held it up, and my blade just barely needs to break the surface of that. It's going to be very difficult to see, but you don't need it too deep. And this may be too deep, but it's getting me a good cut right now, so that's what I'm going to go for. Another thing you want to keep in mind with faux leathers is this is a smooth textured faux leather, but another one I have here is an embossed textured, and that's going to cut differently, and the backing here is a little bit different too, so you want to keep that in mind. Test cuts, different colors can also affect how it cuts as well. So there's really not a one size fits all for your blade depth or your force. Really, test cuts are going to be, and that's true for all machines. I see people ask about faux leather all the time. There's really no magic number. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set this up so my housing, and then I'll share a photo here. So I'm going to share a photo of my screen and what I'm going to test cut. So the first thing I'm going to cut is this key fob that I've showed you. I did set my settings here for my test cuts within the Siser menu on the Juliet machine, because this is the easiest way to test cut it. Now I need to make sure I'm going to take these settings, which this one for this leather and my blade depth, I am using a cut speed of 9, force of 35, but I started at a force of 30, and you need to test cut. You can see there that I have those, and here are all my little pieces from my test cuts. So it all cut pretty well. It is cutting a little bit. It's not, you can't feel it, but you can see it in the cutting mat. But if I take my fingernail along there and scratch on it, you can't see it. So I'm pretty confident in these cut settings. We're going to see how it does. So I'm just going to change those in my software, and I am using the 60-degree blade. And then I'm just going to send this to the cutting machine. We'll see how it cuts out. Now again, the backing on faux leather is like a fabric. So oftentimes when you're cutting fabric, you're going to get little threads, and you want to be careful when you take it off, and just grab a pair of scissors in case. I'd probably even grab a finer pair than this. Those are just the ones handy I have. Another tip is you need a really super sticky mat. If your faux leather moves at all when it's being cut, it's not going to complete that cut. So that's another thing I see people. But look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push this back down so I can keep it on my mat, not lose my sticky. But look at this. Ooh, look at that cut. Now I'm just going to glue this. You could glue this together, but I think I'm going to put something in the middle. And this was just a test. This is probably a bit big for a key fob. It could be a bag tag, so I'll probably do that with it. So I'm going to do some more testing, but I thought I would share what I'm doing. This was such a fantastic cut. Look at that. And you can see, I don't know, let me unload my mat. You can see, kind of, sort of, that it did cut. I can see that cut on my mat, but I cannot feel that. So you're going to have fibers that the blade pushes down in it as it's cutting. So, oh, I'm so excited. Yay! And now I'm going to send, since this was already stuck to my cutting mat, I'm going to send a different design to cut, and we'll see how it does. Using the same settings as I had before. Now this is a little bit more detailed of a design. Looks like maybe my leather didn't stick. So my cut didn't quite complete, but let's just pull this off and we'll see what we have. So my C didn't quite complete here. It looks like it didn't stay stuck to my mat, but I can easily, again, it's a fabric backing, so it just didn't quite get through in some places on that fabric backing, which I can just take some scissors and snip that apart. So I'll do that, and I'm going to keep on testing. Okay, now I have switched. My other cutting mat was not holding it in place because of this fabric backing. It was causing it to lift. Part of the reason it didn't cut through on some of this on the previous video. So what I did was I now have a high tack mat. This is a silhouette mat because my other high tack mat for Siser is glitter and it's ruined. But grabbed a high tack mat. It's well stuck down. I did some test cutting here. You can, here I'll pull my mat out. The fabric backing is making quite a difference. You can see all those fibers there. That's going to make a huge difference. But I ended up bumping up the force, did a circle test cut, and it cut very, very well. So I'm going to load this back in, and I'm going to do one more circle to fill my design. And so I'll place the housing here, and then I'll send this circle to cut and we can watch it. And then look at that, not even strings. So the size of your design and the fabric backing is going to make a huge difference no matter what machine you're cutting with faux leather. There are so many varieties and so many differences out there. Not a one size fits all for everything. And this one, because it's got this embossed texture on it, it is definitely going to make a difference in your cutting quality. On to the next one. Okay, here you can see that all the different designs that I did cut out, and I tried that fabric fusion and it didn't work. So you'll see here when I pull the earring apart, you can see that I tried and tested that. So then I grabbed a couple more adhesives. This is a Xyron permanent sticker maker adhesive. It's just the refill. You can just use it without the little X machine. And I've had great success with the permanent adhesive on this, that it works and it lasts. Just make sure you put it into the machine straight, and you are limited to the width of your sticker maker adhesive. I'll link that, all of this in the description below as well. And then you rub the backing to get that adhesive to stick to whatever you're making a sticker out of. In this case, I'm gluing the two pieces of faux leather together. You can see that I missed part of it there. So I did both sides of this earring. And I just cut two of the dark brown to give it a little bit more weight for the earring. You don't have to do that. It's a personal preference. Some people are okay with that fabric backing. And this is the only set that I did this double-sided on. And then I'm just putting them together. So I'm showing the assembly of one. And I did have the Siser Juliet cut the circles, but in my experience, any cutting machine doesn't really do that well on circles. It's not consistent that size for the earring holes. So I just grab a leather punch, and I find that this is much easier. And then I'm adding the jump rings with some jewelry pliers, or just some curved pliers. And you'll see I'm off camera there. That's the hardest part about doing this overhead camera, is trying to be on camera the whole time when you have to see up close and be able to get those rings closed completely. And I'm just adding those fishhook earrings to it. So I chose to leave the front of this free and not glue it down to the dark. You could really do whatever you wanted to do with the earrings or your designs. So it is completely up to you what you decide to do. And then here I decided to use this Aleene's Fast Grab Tacky Glue, and I actually really like this once I got the clog out of the top. So it's a brand new bottle. It was pretty thick coming out, and I actually, you'll see here, I unscrew it several times and try to clean it out, and I ended up taking it to the trash can and completely cleaning that lid out from the inside before it actually started to work. But once it started to work, I glued pretty much most of the earrings together with this glue. It was really nice once I got it going. And I really do like the Aleene's Fast Grab for a lot of things, from faux leather to cardstock to crepe paper. I use it a lot with crepe paper. So I'm just kind of spreading that out with my finger, a little bit messy, but it's a lot of surface area there. And then I'm adding that second layer, sandwich layer in there, and some more glue to the other side. So these are going to be, I designed them as key fobs, but it's a pretty big key fob. So, you know, just testing. You can use it as a bag tag or something, whatever you'd like to do. I was just testing designs and different things to see how this faux leather would cut from 143 vinyl. Then I added a key ring, and I also added a little alligator clip type thing that you could then clip to your bag. So I assembled everything. I did this on a time lapse so you could see it, and ta-da! Here is the finished project. You can kind of see that embossed texture. I was just playing around, and then here are the finished earrings. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you have fun just creating. Thanks for joining me.